Chosen ones just have that aura of mystery. You don't even have to say a word. Your presence is felt and it's known. The more you grow, the more larger your aura becomes. And that all that really means is that you start to really have an extremely powerful presence that it just makes people give you a double take. They want to know about you. I mean, how else could you explain the weird behavior that you encounter on a day-to-day basis? It's not in your head when you actually see the way that people react to your presence when it's there. You walk into a room and it's like, people start reacting to it. It's like you don't have to actually say a word for people to show you how they feel about you. And it could either be negative or positive. It's like a mixture of the two. Now, in the beginning, you might encounter some negative reactions, not because of what you did, because these people don't know you. All right. So it's not that. But let's say you do know them. A lot of times it has more to do with the smear campaign, whatever that was in your life. And that's the fucked up part about it, is that you can tell when a person has been talking about you. You can tell because of the way they look at you, the way that, you can just feel it. And then you put two and two together, like they are associated with people that you used to talk to, or you used to, be around, and all of a sudden they kind of keep their distance from you for a reason. Now, as heartbreaking as that may be for some of us once upon a time, because, I don't really give a fuck anymore, because I feel like if you are quick to believe in anything that anyone says about me without actually knowing who I am as a person, I really could give a fuck what you think of me. You don't know me. You don't want to know me, and that's fine, because I don't want to know a person that is weak-minded like that, to where they're going to just listen to whatever someone says with no question. And it's funny how most of the people that do most of the shit talking, they don't really know you. Like, they don't know who you are. They're not even around you, but somehow, some way, they know so much about you. And you could tie that into possible psychic readings and stuff. You know what? Let me talk about that. I wasn't going to talk about that, but let me just, since I bring it up, I'm going to tell you something. Well, you don't have to do anything on your part, okay? There's nothing on the outside. We're not doing nothing extra. It's just that you pick up on a lot of signals, and the more, what I mean, you're just going to know. You know what? Let me paint a picture for you, because this happened to me. It was a woman, right? And for some reason, she was kind of like, she had some type of interest in me. Like, she wanted to know more about me. But at the same time, she kind of was the type of person that would throw shade at you, And I noticed that. I noticed every single thing, And I guess she thought it would just go over my head, but no, it's not. Because I've been there, done that, You don't be friends with people that throw shade at you. Because, when they try to hide it with a joke, as if it's a joke. Oh, I'm just playing. No, you're not. Just stop it. That's to me, that's lame. But anyway, I had this feeling that she might have done a reading on me. How do I know? Because she would start conversations in the class, but before the lesson started, she would start bringing up conversations that, was talking about spirituality and sleep paralysis and healers. Started talking about healers, and then started talking about my ancestry. And that's just a few examples. But when it comes to stuff like that, like, you have to pay attention to not just what they're saying or what they're talking about, but, you have to also listen to, like, you have to also pay attention to their body language and the way she's, because this person kept glancing at me, kept looking at me. It's kind of like, that kind of energy that a fanatic would have for somebody that they admire, right? They're just like, some people here are healers, and it sounds so sweet, but you can tell by the energy that there's a lot of envy in that voice. There's a lot of envy behind that. It's not genuine. You know, it's fake. And so a lot of us, we encounter so many fake people that it's very exhausting, because it's like, in actuality, we really like interacting with people, like-minded people that, you could just have a nice laugh with and just have a good day, In actuality, a lot of us, that's really, it's just spreading good energy, spreading that spiritual fuel, rather than just being on some weird shit, playing mind games all day. And you notice that a lot of these people around us, when you have a magnetic presence about you, you're going to attract people like that. People that want to try to gaslight you out of your own identity, try to gaslight you out of your own value and worth, because they see something in you. And that was weird, man. She literally was saying some people here are healers, and then looked at me, and you know what I mean? Like, so that lets you know that they're letting you know that they know who you are. And it's not a coincidence that on that same day, I started experiencing these spiritual attacks as soon as I got home. Started having that anxiety coming out of nowhere in the middle of the night, waking up with that. And I hadn't had that in a while. It was like a panic attack. But I woke up from a dream too. So I had a dream that revealed certain things about this person, right? Long story short, in the dream, there was a lot going on, but one detail I want to point out is I had a dream that she hacked into my laptop and discovered so many things about me regarding my spiritual gifts, my ancestry, and all the spiritual knowledge. That was a big one too. So apparently she found, like, in the dream, it kind of made it look like she was hacking into my laptop and found a lot of spiritual wealth that I had, and it came in the form of knowledge. But another thing that the dream showed me was the fact that she was trying to frame me in some way. She was trying, like, the dream was warning me that this is the person that's getting ready to smear your name, because she just found out about all these things about you, that you're the real deal. She knows that. See, these people, when they find out that you're a chosen one, when they find that out, that's when, like I said, they could either come with good intentions, or they can come with malicious intent, because they're jealous, because they look at you like, why you and not me? It goes back to that shit. It goes back to that Cain energy, they carry that jealousy, that now they want to tear you down. Now they want to take from you. Right. Yeah. And so that's when they try to take you. They try to basically mirror you. They try to take certain traits that you have, or at least they're trying to, like, make themselves look like they're aligned with you. Try to make it seem like they're also, on the same frequency, when they're really not. You know what I mean? They're just doing that to get close to you so that they can destroy you spiritually, and then that comes in the form of betrayal and all types of stuff. And sometimes even spiritual attacks, psychic attacks, and even witchcraft attacks, because I eventually find out that in real life, she dibbles and dabbles with some type of stuff, and it's not really hard to tell, because let me get into the story. So back to the dream. The dream revealed to me that this is going to be the person that's is getting ready to smear your name. Not because you're a bad person. Obviously, I know, you know who you are. We know who we are. So it's not because you're a bad person that they smear your name. It's because they're trying to switch destinies. And we've heard people talk about that. And that's basically when she's trying to make herself appear to be the healer, and then make me appear to be the witch, basically. And so that's basically what it was. And that's what that dream revealed to me. And I find it to be fascinating that I had that dream on that same night. It's like every single time people find out about my talents and all the different things that I'm good at, including the spiritual gifts and the writing especially, it makes people want to destroy me. And I'm not saying that lightly. I really mean that. There's people that have tried to destroy me. And that's why we don't share this stuff. That's why we're very low key. So when people say, "Oh, you the chosen ones are arrogant," it's like, no. For the longest, I didn't even want to call myself a chosen one because it kind of sounds it does kind of sound egotistical. It sounds kind of like you're putting yourself above others. You know what I mean? To me, it kind of sounds like that. So, but in essence, when I really look into my life experiences as a whole, I mean, when I listen to different people's videos talking about chosen ones, I realized that I really fit the description of a lot of these things, man. And it's like at this point I can't even deny it, and which means that once you know that's who you are, once you know that you resonate with that, then you know that you carry a very, very high calling and a very like important thing that you have to do. There's a lot of things you have to do, and it's tied into your gifts. So I know that, and it's kind of hard because for the longest, we wanted to be low key, and that's how I was. But it's like eventually you have to show yourself. You have to really put it out there, and that's part of our purpose, is to share our light. I think the problem with some of us is that we shared our light a little too soon and in the wrong environment. It goes back to divine timing. You have to do things in the right time, because if you do it in the wrong time, a bunch of crazy stuff can happen to you. So there's a time for everything. So if there's ever a delay in whatever it is that you're expecting, I mean, it has more to do with your protection. Sometimes we go through delays in our blessings to protect ourselves, because the Most High knows, what time it is right now, right? And we get really impatient. Hey, I want this now. Why can't I just do this now? And it's like, there's a reason for that. It's for your protection. And when you understand how valuable your gifts are, you will understand the value of divine timing. And I know I learned that myself because, like I said, when people, once upon a time when I used to live in my hometown, people found out about, oh, you can rap or whatever. They say rap. I like to say lyricism, because I feel like rap is watered down now. It's not it, it's not really what it's supposed to be. It became corrupted, but that's a whole nother conversation. But like more like conscious lyricism, when people discovered that, it only made them want to hurt me. You know what I mean? And also ostracize too. But you'll also notice that you're going to have those people that admire it. But it's almost like they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they love it so much. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that you have talent. And you're going to find that wherever you live at, especially your hometown, because they see like, wow, so you're the one that's going to make it out. You really think that we're going to let you make it out? Fuck no. And that's a very common thing that we see, whatever talent it is, right? We've seen this. And so that is why my word of advice is that if you currently still live in your hometown, don't let no one know what you're good at. Don't let no one know about your gifts. Get the fuck out of there first and foremost. Start to grow, right? Focus on spiritual growth, personal growth, and really, you want to increase your divine protection. And that comes with, aligning with the Most High and following the commandments and all that good stuff. That comes with all of that. It's all tied together. Healing, shadow work, all of that stuff that you could think of. What you're doing is you're building your spiritual shield so that you are ready to actually put your gifts and talents on display and actually start to live your purpose. But see, there's a timing for that's why I always consult the Most High. I pray and I say, hey, is this the right time for me to do X, Y, and Z? I've never I don't like to be the kind of person that's very impulsive, because I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson from when I was in my teens. And, you get so you think that people are going to appreciate what you do. You think that they're going to have love for you and the fact that you made it so far and you have this type of talent. You want to collaborate with certain people, but you're going to find out that either they want to destroy you, or they're going to blackball you, or they're going to ostracize you. Because a lot of times you might be thinking, damn, why are they ostracizing me for? Or why are they acting funny? You might think it might be something wrong with you, or maybe your stuff isn't good enough. No, actually, it's because your stuff is that good. It's so good that it makes them feel some type of way. It makes them question themselves. But they have to make you feel like your stuff ain't shit, when in reality, you outshine the hell out of everyone damn near. Seriously. And you're not trying to be like that. Like, this is the thing about us. This is why we always feel like we have to dumb ourselves down. We have to kind of dim our light a little bit just to make people feel comfortable. Because when we really present ourselves and our true talent to its highest level of brilliance and greatness, is like people just get uncomfortable. People don't want to be around us. And you might think, man, did I offend someone? A lot of times the only offense that you did is that you're just fucking amazing, and people don't like that. You know, people don't like when you're so talented in something, you know, whatever it is, right? Singing, that's a big one too, because anything that requires the usage of your voice, you know, in some way. You know, I noticed that's a big one, your voice, because it's powerful. It carries a vibration. You know, you could be a public speaker, a singer, a lyricist, even writing, spoken word, you know, stuff like that. Your voice is powerful. And because like I said, the sound of the voice carries a vibration, you know. But see, there's a reason why a lot of us, we actually are we're very low key people. We don't want people to know about how much we have in store within. Because again, let me tell you this, I've been broke all my life. To this day, yes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not made out of money, you know? So you think to yourself, well, why the hell are people so envious of someone that is broke as hell? Why would somebody be envious with someone that has at one point, you know, really struggled to make ends meet? That's a huge sign that you're definitely not a regular person, because regular people are going through it too. But why the hell are you getting all the hate? You get all the hate because they know that you carry a light, you carry something powerful within. And then especially if they know about your talents, if they know about your spiritual gifts, and also on top of your ancestry. Now we make, you know, a lot of times we like to focus mainly on spirituality, but your ancestry, your bloodline is also connected to that in some way. And I bring that up because the dream that I just shared with you in this video, it literally showed me that apparently, you know, that girl that I told you about, she found out a lot of things about me based on my last name. One of my last names, actually. And I forgot to tell you that detail, but that was the key. Why do I feel like this person did a psychic reading on me? Another thing I forgot to tell you about that dream is that it kind of gave me this vibe that I am divinely protected, which means that she may be able to see what's in store for me, who I am, and it's all this different stuff, right? But she cannot take away what God has for me. She cannot take anything, you know? The same thing for you guys. And that's why I emphasize the importance of being in proper alignment with the Most High, following the commandments, having a clean temple, right? So that you can continue to keep that spiritual shield solid, because that way, because trust me, these people are weird. They're going to do psychic readings on you. They're going to try to find out who you are, where you come from, and all that. Especially if you stand out. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, you know, do not underestimate how nosy people can be, and to how much, you know, how far they're willing to go to really find out who you are in every way. Because like I said, when you have that aura of mystery, people are like, they want to know who you are. And sometimes it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. You know, I've had some great conversations with some people, especially elders. You know I was talking shit in the other video about how we don't really have elders. But man, I was referring to the relationships aspect. The fact that we kind of lacked guidance when it came to that as we were growing up. But what I'm talking about now is that, yes, I do encounter elders every now and then. I can tell that's what they are because they're very spiritual and they're very focused on, like, they just carry this energy, man. It's like a sage. But, you know, I just want to put that out there. There are elders. It's just that it's very hard to find them, very hard to come by. And a lot of them are pretty much isolated from other people. Basically, they don't really, they're not around their family as much because a lot of people today, they're not listening to wisdom. They don't want to listen to wise counsel from a real elders. So a lot of real elders, even though it may seem like there's none of them out there, and then the very few that is left, they pretty much stay to themselves. Because again, it's not that many elders, at least in person. I mean, the internet kind of makes it easy for us to find, people with wisdom. So let me just put that out there. I appreciate the real elders, online and offline, right? Because you do have that out there. It's just that, when we were growing up, before we started our YouTube channels, before we started all of that, when we were growing up, we had to pretty much figure things on our own in regards to relationships between man and woman, right? That's basically what I was saying in that other video, is that when we were coming up, we kind of had to figure it out. But now, I mean, yeah, you see more of that coming, especially, but to me, it's like I'm seeing it more from Gen X. Gen X to me is not really elder age, but I don't know, maybe they're getting up there, aren't they? They're like, yeah, they kind of are, because like I keep forgetting I'm about to be 30. I keep forgetting that. Like, dang, I'm actually closer to age 40 than 18. I don't even feel like it, don't look like it, nothing. So yeah, but yeah, it's kind of hard. So basically we're the next elders then, right? The Gen X and the millennial. We're going to be the next elders, right? But no, when I say that, I'm talking about the baby boomer generation. Like, it just seems like the baby boomers, they're not really, for the most part, you don't find too many elders from that generation, but you do find elders in the generation that's older than the baby boomers. What was that? Was that the Great Depression? I think I forgot. Was it the Lost Generation? I think that's what they're called. The Lost Generation. Those are the people that grew up in the Great Depression, Yeah, they struggled a lot. The baby boomers, they let's not talk about them, because that's a whole nother thing. But Gen Xers, Gen Xers, I definitely have a lot of love for them, because I grew up with that generation, So yeah, we're gonna be we have all the knowledge. We're not up there. I don't think 40s and 50s is really old anyway. To me, elder is like a lot older, but either way, I mean, we have more wisdom and knowledge than most baby boomers anyway. So we can agree with that, right? We can agree with that. No, but I'm just talking shit, but it's true. But no, seriously, you have to, like, when you have that aura of mystery, you're going to encounter people that, like I said, they could have good intentions. So that's why I said we want to be open to the positive interactions with people, and that's where you start to have, okay, everything's good, because we need that, because when you're on an assignment, when you have things you have to do, when you have some, you can't really heal people without actually having the proper discernment on who you can trust and who God is assigning you. Sometimes God will place you around certain individuals so that you can learn from each other. And essentially that can activate their healing journey. You don't necessarily have to go up to them and say, hey, I'm about to activate your spirit. No, you don't have to be direct like that. You don't have to actually say it. It's just your existence and your presence alone can activate that for them. And that comes from not just you. Sometimes it's just your energy, your personality, and your confidence. And then if they ask a question about something, on how did you, like, if they're asking for advice, they're going to see your light. They're going to see your wisdom. And then they're going to notice that you're different from everyone else. And you don't have to go into details, but that interaction alone can actually activate that person's spirit. And I think that that's the reason why, that's basically part of our purpose, and that's basically when we do that offline, because sometimes that happens offline. And of course, online is easier because, you just make a video and hey, you can listen to it, but even offline, we've encountered that before, so, and that's what it is. And you don't have to like give away a lot of information. You just share, you just give some advice and then see what happens. And then they're going to realize, they're going to be mind blown, because it's like, they've never heard that, especially if you're young, like if you're my age, it's going to be baffling to them. It's like, the hell? And then I look younger than I actually am. So I actually look younger than what I am. So that's definitely gonna, really shock them, really. And that's the thing. That's what we're here for. We're here to, essentially, we're here to elevate, and we're here to raise. We hear this all the time, okay? That, like they always say that, chosen ones were placed on this earth to raise the vibration, right? To raise the energy levels of humanity, basically, to bring them back to the truth, to bring them back to proper alignment, with the Most High and things like that. Now, some people, they have different views of different, as far as divinity and God and whatever the case is. I'm not here to really debate a person on how you should look at, I'm not a religious person, right? But I do like to learn, like, including what the Apocrypha and all that. Just, I am always willing to learn, I'm not the type of person that thinks, oh, I know everything and this is the end all be all. Like, no, I'm not like that. So if I'm ever wrong, I mean, I'm wrong. It's not that deep. I'm not going to be like, I have all the ultimate answers and you should listen to everything I say. Like, no, I just like the energy alone is enough. Sometimes just being kind, like sometimes just listening. Like there was times where I didn't even have to say anything. I'm just listening to this person telling me things that they're going through. And then it's like sometimes just you actually being a genuine person, and you are just kind to them. Sometimes your kindness alone could heal a person. It sounds like it sounds crazy, but I've seen this. I've seen this so many times, and then you might never see that person again. And that's like, okay, I hope they're doing well, whatever because you remember the last conversation you had with them, they were going through something, and now you're like, they started feeling better because it's crazy. Now, this is what happens when you work at the front desk, because I've worked at the front desk in different places, and people just start talking to you when you're in the front desk. It's a reason why they like putting me in the front desk, because they knew I had that energy, man. They knew I had that energy. It just when you have that inviting energy, very welcoming, it feels like home, and you don't have to do nothing crazy. Like, you don't have to show your cleavage. No, I didn't do none of that shit, man. Hell no. I wear all black. I wear all black, maybe some olive green or something like that, or I don't wear like super bright colors anyway, right? You're trying to be low key. That goes back to that. We're trying so hard to be low key, but we just can't help it. The energy is too bright. You could wear all black, and your energy is gold, and so they're gonna see that. They're gonna see that. You just can't help it. And no matter how much you try to hide your light, you just can't. And that's what I learned. That's what I learned in my life. You just can't hide it. So you might as well just start a YouTube channel and just start sharing your light, sharing your stories, your, everything. Have fun with the videos. Don't be so serious. Because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I listen to some of my not older, but I listen to some of my videos and I could tell, like, it's kind of unpredictable, right? Like, because in the beginning, it's so chill. And then all of a sudden, it's just like the energy is just through the roof. And you're like, okay, yeah. And it's like I don't know. Somebody left a comment. I think in one of my other videos, somebody said that listening to your videos is a euphoric experience. And I was like, hey, I like that. I like that. So much appreciation to the person that left that comment, because I'm like, yeah, that's nice. I like to make sure that my videos aren't like too intense, because I know that I can come off as an intense person, and sometimes I could be laughing and then all of a sudden I sound very passionate and I kind of sound maybe angry. I don't know, some people might interpret it as angry, but I'm not really angry. Am I really? I don't think I'm not really angry when I make these videos. It's just that when I think about certain things, sometimes my mind goes back to the past, and then it's just like, it's more like intensity. It's not really anger. But yeah, for some people it could be too much. And I don't know if maybe I'm doing too much, saying too much, going a little too far, going off, I don't know what it is, but I try, and then I go back to being chill. It goes back to being therapeutic, just like that. So you might think I'm bipolar. I don't know. Someday I was thinking, like, do my subscribers think I'm bipolar? because of how volatile, things go with my videos. Sometimes, I don't know, but I'm trying to let loose, lately, because it's like the longer I've been doing this, how long ago since I quit? Since I quit my last job, I remember I was tired as hell. I was exhausted, so I had to take a break. But I noticed that for the past 3 to 4 months, you can notice the change in energy in my videos. I have more energy, I'm more vibrant. And I noticed that because before I was just tired as hell because I was at that job, A lot of my energy was being expended in the 9 to 5. So yeah, but now I'm doing this and I have more flexibility with, the gigs that I have, and it's just better. But now I'm noticing that the energy just increases and it increases now, and I really like it, and I want to keep it like that. So now you're noticing there's a change, and that's good. That's what I like. That's evolution, that's growth, that's actually healing too, because it's almost like, dang, so does that mean that I'm increasing in spiritual energy? Pretty much. And then other people can feel it. Other people can feel that, and that's why I'm becoming more mindful of what I share, right? And that's a lesson that I've learned recently. It's so many different factors that play into the shit that I say, but I try to be mindful, and that's something that I'm going to take my own advice and be very mindful of what I share, because like I said, sometimes either you want to have a balance, right? Everything comes with balance. Like you have to have that empowerment energy that enlightens people, and then you have to also have that little bit of reality. You have to have some of that reality letting you know all these things that are happening. That is basically the informational part of it, and you put that together. So you want to inform people, you want to be real, you want to be raw, right? But you also want to come with that message of empowerment. You end it on a good note, basically, So I really appreciate you guys for listening. Take care, and until next time.